You know when you're scrolling online and you come across a piece of content that is just pure, unfiltered chaos? Well, today, we're going to take one of those moments, a really frantic piece of gameplay, and we're going to break it down. Because on the surface, it might just seem like noise, but if we look closer, we can actually deconstruct it and find the hidden story inside. First, though, let's just experience the chaos together.
Okay, so it kicks off with just a moment of pure, unadulterated shock. Oh my God. Wow.
And then the energy shifts. It becomes this urgent, repeated mantra. Heat, 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 heat. Now we get this panicked question, thrown out into the void. Why are you running? Who's he even talking to? We have no idea.
And it all just builds to this moment of total confusion. Oh shit, what is that, huh? What? It's just a mess, right?
So that was a lot. It felt like just a wall of noise. But I'm going to argue that underneath all of that chaos, there is a coherent, understandable story. And to find it, we need to shift our thinking from just passively listening to actively analyzing. So we're going to ask two simple questions. What is actually happening here? And maybe more importantly, why on earth is this so compelling to so many people?
Okay, our first step in making sense of this is to build a framework. We need context, because without it, those words are totally meaningless. But with it, they become clues.
So the first and most basic piece of context is the environment. This isn't some real-world event. This is all taking place inside a video game called Dude Theft Wars. And that's important because it's a game known for being this chaotic, open-world sandbox. That tells us right away we're dealing with a system that has rules, objectives, and AI that behaves in predictable ways. Now, this right here, this is our most important clue, the title of the video. It's basically the creator's mission statement. It's a declaration of intent. It tells us that everything we just heard, no matter how wild it sounded, is supposed to be connected to one single goal, making unlimited money in the game. So because of that title, we can now define a very clear objective. See, the player isn't just causing random mayhem for fun. They are actively trying to execute a specific strategy to get rich fast within the game's rules. This objective is now the lens that we're going to use to interpret every single frantic thing they say and do. All right, now that we know the what, the objective, we can start the reconstruction phase. Let's approach this like a forensic investigation. We're going to examine the transcript line by line and piece together the exact sequence of events. Here's our first piece of evidence. Just by itself, it's a frantic shout. But when we put it into our framework, knowing the game, knowing the objective, it actually tells us a whole lot. We can logically walk through what happened. To get the police's attention, the player must have broken a rule in the game. Most likely, they stole a vehicle or caused some kind of public disturbance as part of their money-making plan. Then, the police AI responded, and a chase started. The chaos suddenly has a cause. Okay, let's look at our next clue. This one signals a pretty major shift in what's going on. The word helicopter is not random. In games like this, a helicopter showing up is a huge deal. It means things have escalated. The player has managed to get away from the first wave of police, which raised their in-game wanted level. So the game's AI sends in tougher units. And this gives us the perfect explanation for heat, heat, heat. It's not about the weather. Heat is gamer slang for intense police pressure. And now, for the final and most critical piece of evidence. This is the line that brings us right back to the player's main goal. This one sentence just clicks the whole puzzle together. The guy he's talking about is almost certainly not a person, but a high-value vehicle, probably like an armored truck. So the entire police chase, the chaos, the helicopter, it was all because the player was trying to steal this specific thing. This line means he did it. He got the vehicle, and with it, the big cash payout. Mission accomplished. The chaos had a point. So, we figured out the what. We've reconstructed the story from the noise. But that only answers half of our original question. Now we need to tackle the why. Why is this kind of content, this chaotic experience that's disguised as a how-to guide, so unbelievably popular? Well, the answer really lies in this fundamental difference between what the title promises and what the video actually delivers. The title promises informational content. It says, I will teach you a skill. But the video delivers experiential content. Its real purpose isn't to teach you, it's to make you feel something. The title is just the hook. The actual product being sold here is the vicarious thrill of the chase. And this right here is the key insight. The real value and appeal of so much of the content we consume today isn't in learning how to do something, but in feeling what it's like to do it. It lets the audience experience all of the adrenaline, the excitement, and the victory, but with none of the actual risk or effort. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. The next time you're scrolling, look at the content you're consuming and ask yourself, is the goal here really to provide me with clarity? Or is it cleverly designed to let me just share in someone else's chaos for a little while? Once you start looking for this distinction, you might be surprised just how often the real product isn't the information, but the feeling.